what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video here to do my Code Geass Lelouch of the Resurrection English dub review. There will be spoilers, so please, if you have not seen the video, if you have not seen the movie, I should say, actually, go see it tomorrow. There's one more screening tomorrow. I might actually go see it tomorrow too because it was that damn good. But is a lot of peddling for me. But I would highly recommend go seeing it. This is a very, very well done film. Now there is going to be some confusion that we're going to have to get into. Of course, there's going to be some stuff I'm going to have to talk about that kind of doesn't make sense, but actually does. But they frigged it up somewhat. In communicating that to us because, it goes into the whole recap bullshit that didn't get dubbed, which is why it was very important for that to have been dubbed, but of course Funimation didn't do it like they should have. But, okay, so this movie was friggin' phenomenal from start to finish, like amazing, very well done film. The animation was spectacular, and from what I've heard, the creator or the director that works on the anime, series for Code Geass actually has confirmed that this movie is only phase 1 of Code Geass, of the new Code Geass. So that means there's going to be more Code Geass coming, which I'm really, really excited to see more Code Geass because this is really good. Now, one thing that I noticed about the movie production was that this movie was, I think, done in L.A. I don't know what studio they used. I don't know if Funimation just had like a studio in L.A. that they just went to do, or where they decided to do it. But this was clearly done in L.A. because pretty much everybody in this cast, from start to finish, were, L.A. voice actors. I mean, they had Steve Blum back for his role, which, shocked me because that means it's union, because Steve only does union stuff. So, there was a lot of, yes, very, very surprised by that. So anyways, movie starts up, and the movie starts off, you got the whole background. I guess that was supposed to be kind of like Seas World type stuff, you know what I'm saying? You got C2, right in the beginning, with it appears to be Lelouch. Lelouch is basically brain dead, basically, essentially, and Nonali is there. Nonali is the she's technically the Empress of Britannia, but she's basically called the Councilman, because they're part of the United Federations of Nations at this point. It's kind of okay. Now, the first thing C2 is saying, she's on a phone conversation with Shirley, about Lelouch and whatnot, and Lelouch's safety and all this stuff, which I was like, what? Shirley is alive in this movie, even though she died in the anime series, because I guess in the recap movies, which again, Funimation, why didn't you dub it? It's a different storyline. Apparently, Shirley lives, and I don't know how they explained that, to be completely honest with you. I can't even get into how you explain, because obviously Lelouch, indirectly killed Shirley's father, which is what led to the events of Shirley, and Lelouch doing the Geass eye, and then the Geass Chancellor by Orange Boy, and then of course, as we all know, she dies by Rolo. So yeah. So C2 is basically protecting him. While this is going on, you got not only doing negotiations, with Zero, aka Suzaku Kururugi, and then you got all these people coming after them, from the Princess Sherman, or not Sherman, I'm sorry, Charlene, as I believe is how they said it. Princess Charlene has this new country that they created, I guess, and we're gonna talk about her Geass because she has a Geass now too. But we'll talk about that later. She has a brother, who is Sharman. I believe is how you said it. It's kind of hard to really decipher how they were saying it, but still getting used to these new characters now, obviously. But he basically was charging in after Suzaku and Zero, and he basically had some ability to basically predict the future or whatever, essentially, and that's what it seemed like. And he eventually does take down Suzaku, and he immediately they find out who he is, that he's Suzaku, Zero, and stuff like that. And again, not only is kidnapped, not looking good. Not only he's been kidnapped, you got Millie Ashford still covering the news. It's not looking good right now, okay, in the beginning for these characters. So when they go in, they got so C2 is basically trying to help Lelouch. She's preparing a meal for him, and she actually gets hit by Lelouch because Lelouch is just scared. Lelouch is completely traumatized or whatever. He's not himself anymore. He's not himself anymore. He's just scared. He's kind of like what C2 was in the anime when she kind of lost her memory, in a way, and Lelouch was trying to help her. It's kind of similar to that type of situation. So yeah. So then they go through and they go through basically. They're still trying to hide. They're trying to get away. And, he's covering him up because, obviously Lelouch, they have to preserve the fact that he's dead because, he's dead to the world, pretty much now. And so what happens is there's this group that's going after Colin's Sayako, Lloyd, and they're going after them, and the guy's got a Geass power, and his Geass basically allows him to basically manipulate people's sight from what they're seeing. So when he uses his Geass, you basically see your friends. So her friends were now because he used the Geass on Colin. So when he used the Geass on Colin, he basically Colin was now seeing Sayako and Lloyd and everyone else from those people's viewpoints. So the people that she was fighting against now looked like the people that of her friends, so she didn't know who was who. So she started fighting with Sayako because of this. Eventually, it was figured out, because they knew about Geass. They knew about Geass, so they figured it out. And he's like, oh, you know about Geass and stuff like that. And then they indirectly, he, basically shot C2, who was in the, just happened to be there. Like, they were literally, C2 and Lelouch just happened to be there. Like, they weren't even, like, it was just, they made it, like, literally coincidental that they met up with each other. So they meet up with each other. C2 is still alive. Eventually he gets back up and he's like, "Oh wait, how are you still alive?" While this is going on, Colin, and everyone else, they're like, Colin, when she meets up with C2, she calls her Pizza Girl, and gotta love that Pizza Hut, by the way. She, they're friggin', trying to come up with a plan how to get out, and while they're leaving, they ended up revealing that Lucia's still alive, and she shows him, and they said he's not herself anymore. So then they gotta go away. They gotta move it on, and so then they're coming up with a new plan, and basically their plan was to get his memory back, because he needs his memory back, because they got to get Nonali back, because Nonali and even Zero now, Zaku as Zero was now kidnapped, basically, and so now they have to figure out how to get them back, and Lelouch is the best way. So they have to go to C's world again, and this is where they kind of make it a little complicated. There's going to be a lot of complications. Like, they could have really gone into a simpler approach with this, but they kind of made it very, 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 very kind of difficult to figure out here. But basically, they go into this. They dress up as like prisoners, and which, by the way, their prisoner costumes were really cool looking. Not gonna lie. So they hack the system, so they can't see anything, and they basically beat the crap out of the guards, and they basically give the cards to the prisoners to let them out, which ultimately ends up turning out to be a trap. But they get to where they want to go. They go into C's, or C2 goes into C's world with Lelouch. There's this whole blackness going on, moving around, and eventually, C2 gets out of it, but like the people are like right there, the guards and the warden and stuff like that. They're right there, saying it's good you wake up, and then they start shooting at her, in which they confirm that she's immoral because she's still alive. And so, they're all, it's like, oh, this confirms it and stuff. And then after that, you got Lelouch. He makes his dramatic entrance, and, uses his Geass to, it was just epic, too. One thing to notice, when Lelouch comes back from C's world with his, original memory and stuff like that, on his neck, his front part of his neck is the code that makes him immortal. However, he has the Geass. He still has the power of the king. He uses the Geasses to make the three people that were going to kill themselves. He says his classic line, Lelouch v. Britannia commands you, die. Epic. Epic moment. I was like, oh, yes. Very, very happy when that happened. I was like, yep, here we go. Anyways, so then they have to plan now their escape because now they're basically trapped in. Um, and so they ain't gonna let them go. They're not happy, you know. They're not happy. The guy that's commanding the outside, he's not happy. He wants to get rid of him. He uses Geass and some of the guards to help him out. Ultimately, he puts a trap on the leader, the commander, and he dies. And they get out of there, and Lelouch is now free. He's free. After in the Switch, there was also a brief cameo by Shirley, officially on screen. They show Shirley, Millie Ashford and all those guys, and they talk about stuff, which I should explain. They basically said that like I said, Shirley was the person who kind of helped C2 hide him, or whatever, Lelouch with C2, which again, I don't exactly know how Shirley would have the connections to do this, but they got, I guess, make her relevant, even though she died in the original continuity, but she's alive here because she stayed alive in the recaps. That they didn't dub. You didn't dub it, Funimation. Why? Gotta get on that. Anyways. So, they get out of there, and they're gonna have to try to figure out a way to take it out. They eventually free Suzaku Kudarugi, which Suzaku Kudarugi is pissed off. He beats the shit out of Lelouch. He's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Dude, you planned this shit. What the frig? You know what happened." It's like, you know what happened, bro. You just know, bro. I think he thought he was really dead. Yeah, but, whatever. I don't care. He beat the shit out of him, though. And then after that, because he was still knocked out. He was, tortured. He was still knocked out. So then they, had to make their plans on how to get there, and Suzaku was still, damaged, but he was still gonna do it. He was still gonna go about doing it. Also, again, there was flashbacks from weddings and stuff like that, that they showed too throughout this, weddings, babies, all that good stuff that you might want to see. I don't know. And so then they, the plot, goes, they have this plan, and Lelouch, he knows what he's going to do to fool them. To fool them, he goes to Cornelia for help. Cornelia doesn't want any of it. Cornelia wants to just kill him right then and there, but he's like, "Look, I'm serious. This is something we really need to do." And they go for it, and so they do this plan, and the plan is Lelouch has this plan. He has everybody divided. You see Colin and Suzaku, they get their upgraded versions of their nightmare frames. The Gurren Mark II is back, alive again. Technically, was it ever destroyed though? No, I mean it was mortally damaged though. But the Lancelot was completely destroyed, and they fixed it, I guess. they fixed it. So the princess of this new regent, I should mention, Princess Shimin. She basically, she's a princess of the new regent, and her Geass ability is basically going back in time 6 hours. She goes back in time 6 hours after she is dead. When she dies, she goes back in time like 6 hours, and then she can basically tell everybody like, look, this is what you need to do, and this is how we prevent it from happening. Like I said, Colin was captured too by Bit Top, but she was freed too. So there was that too, which that was voiced by Sabat, which Sabat did a really good job with that character. Anyways, then you got so she can use his Geass. So like Lelouch, like he was dominating. He was dominating her, and they get to where they need to go to basically, take her out. And they knew she had a Geass, but she shot herself, and she basically reset the time. And then what happened was, they talk about it when she's in the bathtub. Now, the weird thing about all of this is they don't remember. They clearly don't remember, what happened. At least Lelouch doesn't. In C2, they don't know because they said they don't know if she has a Geass or not. So they don't know what's happened yet. Now, obviously, they've been overpowered, and Lelouch is just like, he's just like, he can't believe it. He cannot believe that, they overpowered him. They overpowered him, with, his, plans and stuff like that. There's no way. So he had to figure out what was going on, So, eventually, like I said, I don't exactly know how, he knows the Geass, because again, when they keep switching back and forth, back in time, how does Lelouch still remember when the first time he didn't? So I don't know what happened, but basically he kept having her do it again and again. Once he figured out their plan, and he was just bluffing on the final phase of what he wants to do. He was bluffing to the troops, when they were on the ropes. He was bluffing to try and get them, to figure out, what their strategies were, so he could, figure out who was doing it. He suspected it was her, because he didn't think it was the brother. He didn't think it was the brother because it wouldn't have made sense, because, he's fighting Suzaku, and, he's just a military person. So he suspected it was her, but he didn't know exactly what the Geass was. So he had only a couple scenarios of what it could be. Finally, he confronts her, and he uses the Geass on her soldiers, but he lays out a trap where he has the goons go after him to see what her reaction would be. And her reaction was, is what did her in, because then he knew what her Geass was. He knew what her Geass was now. And so, basically then, after that, Lelouch used his Geass to basically have her go to sleep. Which, she wakes up after 9 hours, and if she uses the Geass, it will basically cancel her into going back those 9 hours where she's asleep now. So she's basically in a eternal ending cycle of her basically not being able to live, because she's forced to sleep. She's forced to sleep for, the rest of eternity, essentially. So there's really no point to her Geass anymore. Like, her Geass was flawed badly because of it. And so, yeah, that was just, I was like, wow. Because she was gone, pretty much Suzaku Kururugi pretty much did it easily against her brother, and basically made short work of him, killed her. Bit Top was also then killed, too, because, no one was going to not leave him. And so he was killed off, but he made sure he didn't leave without talking, that's for sure. He died talking. He died screaming. So they killed them all off, and Lelouch, his plan succeeds. He frees Nonnally. Um, at the end of it, there's this whole simplistic, thing with him and Nonnally. At Sea's World, because they were in Sea's World for a while. They get trapped in Sea's World. Well, they had to go into Sea's World to basically free her. Um, CC was like kind of concerned. You could tell there was some type of concern going on. Nonnally is freed, and then Lelouch actually gets freed not too long after. There's a good moment with those two. Nonnally was like saying, the burden shouldn't always be on just you. It should be on me. To CC is ready to leave. She's ready to leave basically, and Lelouch stops her and just basically says that he wants to come with him or with her, and there's this whole a moment thing with Cece, and Lelouch says I gotta hide myself, and it's like, well, that's fine. Why don't I just call myself LL or L2 as my new name. So that's basically what he said, and C2, starts to blush. She starts to blush, which confirmed it's canon. C2 and L2 are officially canon. And they did not kiss, but they've kissed in the series already. So, I mean, that's why I think they did. And then, of course, in the end credits, they did have the holding of the hands, which is kind of symbolic at that point. Yes, that was definitely canon. Like that was definitely canon. Just putting that out there because they already kissed in the series. I mean, it was kind of clear they were freaking like going that route. Now, if they can possibly can they get married? Well, I mean, I don't know why he just get a haircut. Luke should just get a haircut. He should just get a haircut, and he should just get just a new name, which he got. He's got a new name now. But I mean, I feel like it could have been done better. Just give him a new name. Now, if they can, I wonder if they can have kids now. Because one of my theories is whether immortal people can get pregnant. I had a theory about that a few years ago. I was like, wait, can they get pregnant as immortal witches and stuff like that with the codes on them? I wonder if they could. I don't know. It's been debated for a while, but obviously the creator can just be like, yeah, it's gonna happen. Yeah, it could happen. So they did a good, end credit. They didn't really change the credits again. It was in the Japanese stuff. I don't know why. They just don't change it to the English text. They did have a special English text credit at the end after everything is over with. But after that original credits, there is a scene with C2 and L2. They're talking, kind of implying that something is going to happen, that there's a sequel basically coming. Not exactly sure what the message represented, but it was there. In terms of the movie, that's how the movie basically ends. Like I said, this movie was fantastic. It was well done. Highly recommend seeing it. I can't wait until it comes out on Blu-ray DVD because I'm getting it. Like that movie was lit, man. Like I was so entertained by that movie. They had like an all-star cast going on there, from the original voice actors coming back for their roles. Then you got these new voice actors, in there, some that are not typically anime voice actors, might I add, just regular actors, and, kind of including them into this, which I thought was really cool that Funimation did that. I don't think that's something that I would have expected. I'm really hopeful that there's going to be more Code Geass coming down the line. According to the creator, there's going to be more Code Geass. Like I said, I don't know exactly where this is going to intertwine with the animated series, because this is supposed to be an alternate version that's supposed to intertwine with the recap movies, which they didn't dub. Hopefully, Funimation will realize that it needs to be dubbed, and they will decide to dub it later on. I don't know. They already released it. I think it was it released as a it was released as a single pack. Like, it was released as an all-in-one pack. If they did decide to dub it, they would, because in Japan it was dubbed as individual. It was released as separate movies. It was released as separate movies. Like, if they did it like that, and then they just decided to release them all singularly, with the English dub included later on. I don't know if they're gonna end up doing that, but that would be really cool if they did, because it would make goddamn sense, if you ask me. But overall, I mean, this movie was lit. Like, it was absolutely lit. Like, it was really good. I want to see it again. And I traveled a long way, believe me, to see it. Um, yeah. I was very, very happy with the movie. It was very exciting to see it again, or see, new contents of Code Geass. I mean, technically, I seen new contents last year with the OVA series, but that had been out for several years if we never got the dub, because it took so long for, it to be put out because of the, out of print stuff, whole fiasco. But I very, very enjoyed the movie. I also got the postcard thing that you get while supplies last. I was able to get my hands on one of them. It looks really cool. It's original artwork. And the one thing I want to say, I don't know if you guys got the Lelouch postcard thing that you get at the theaters, right? But the one thing I noticed about this, compared to the one that Dragon Ball Super Broly you got, is it's actually cardboard. It's actual cardboard. It's not like paper. Like, the Dragon Ball Super Broly one that they gave out for the theaters was just basically a piece of paper. It wasn't like cardboard. I mean, the artwork looks so much better than, I'm not, of course, obviously I prefer Dragon Ball Super. Obviously I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. It's my favorite anime of all time. But I mean, comparing the Gogeta paper thing that they gave to this, to the theater thing for Lelouch postcard thing, is like, there's no comparison. Like, this is so much better than it. Like, they put more into it. Now, I don't know if this was a Sunrise thing or if this was a Funimation thing. I'm assuming it's Sunrise, but because it says Sunrise on it, because it's their original art design. But I mean, it just looks so much better than what you got for Dragon Ball Super Broly if you went to go see the Broly movie in theaters for the Gogeta thing, which was just a piece of paper. So that was one thing I thought was pretty interesting. Voice work, the voice actors were tremendous. Even Shirley's voice actor, who came back as well to do this, which I thought was fantastic. I mean, I didn't expect to see Shirley in this movie because she was supposed to be dead, but of course she is alive somehow because of the recap movies. But her voice actor has been, I think, retired for several years, and she came back to do this role, which I think was pretty cool because she sounds the same. Her character sounds exactly the same as it did over a decade ago when she did the voice, and she did it very good. So yeah, a lot of good voice work, especially from the new voice actors. But the old voice actors, they absolutely killed it. I mean, some of them have already done some stuff with the OVAs because they returned for the OVAs last year. But then, characters like Colin, like Karen, replaced her role as Colin. She was fantastic. I think C2 had the most dialogue in this entire movie. And Kate Higgins, just phenomenal voice actor. Sakura, Haruno, and obviously, just to name a few, and then of course C2. For anyone who doesn't know who Kate Higgins is, and she was just amazing as this. She just killed it as C2, and the scenes with Lelouch and all that stuff. It really portrayed that. I felt C2 was more in line to the story than anything else, because she was with Lelouch the whole time, and taking care of him while he didn't have his memory and consciousness and stuff. So very good movie. I'm very satisfied with the movie. If you have not seen the movie, or if you did not get to see the movie today, go check it out tomorrow. It's the last day that it will be in the theaters. It will be English dubbed. Absolutely, you will not regret it. And as a matter of fact, Lelouch v. Britannia commands you to go see it. Got you there. But yeah, the only thing really, the whole thing with Charles, they kind of went in the more harder route of Lelouch getting the immortal code, and still having the Geass, it being intertwined with SeaWorld and stuff like that. They could have just easily just said that it was Charles's code, because as we all know in the animated series, he lost his immortal code because he was dissipated in SeaWorld, and you could have just said that Lelouch got that code, which that was V2's code that Charles took when he killed V2. But then Charles, was disintegrated, and you could have just said that Lelouch got that, which everyone had theorized for years, but they decided not to do that. So, with that being said, it would be interesting to see where this goes from here with the new series, or if there's going to be a new series, or if it's just going to be another movie thing. I'm wondering if this is going to be another movie trilogy, because they said they're going to be doing more Code Geass for like the next 10 years, supposedly. And if that's the case, bring it on. I'm all for it. But I'm very curious, about the anime series, and what they're planning. They're planning for the animated series, if they're going to do a new anime series, or if they're just if this is going to be like a movie trilogy thing, which again would make sense to have the recap movies dubbed. I really hope this movie did very good too. I just want to put that out there. I'm really hoping that people did go see the movie. I'm hoping that it got My Hero Academia numbers. Movie numbers, and it's in that type of ballpark. I'm not sure. Interesting thing enough about this movie is it was around $15 for the tickets, which is about $3 more than what normal Fathom events ticket monies are typically cost. Dragon Ball Super Broly, I believe, was around $11.50 or $12.50 if I'm not mistaken. For this, it was around $16.50 after the controversial fee that you have to pay. So they zapped you for $3 more with the Code Geass movie. I've never seen a movie that does this. This is the first time I've seen it for an anime movie or any Fathom event movie in general. Fathom event, regular theater release films, anything. I don't exactly know the concept behind that. But that's what they did. And of course, Johnny Young Boss was amazing as his role. He's Lelouch, and we all know. But yes, that's about it. That's pretty much the review. Like I said, I absolutely enjoyed it. Great film. 5 stars. Phenomenal. Go check it out. I loved it. And you will love it too. It is a great film. And also C2 and L2 canon official. So no to the people that wanted Shirley and Lelouch together. Even though that really shouldn't have been a thing because she was dead, but she's alive in this continuity, I guess. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Comment, rate if you like this video or might have, please subscribe and share. And also, Lelouch v. Britannia commands you! Go watch this movie tomorrow. Out. Peace.